Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dwiyanti. I'm from accounting and I will talking about why English communication skill is important. English language is an international medium of communication. People use English as a second language to interact and communicate on a daily basis. The English language is a key factor on gaining access to many things, be it in your career or in terms of knowledge. English language is universally acceptable. In fact, it majorly dominates other language because of its power of communication. The English language is not as difficult as in the perceived to be. Anyone can learn to language starting with basic. You can gain a lot of information if you know the language well. How to develop English language communication skill? You need to learn to slow down when you speak. Always think before you speak if you are a beginner. This will help you to speak more clearly. Always select your words properly as it is an important part of communication. For developing active communication skill, it's important to learn tenses and not only words. The more you use bigger tenses, the better it is for your communication skill. Another aspect of communication is developing your listening skill. When you're talking to someone in English, always listen and then speak. Listen to what others are saying. Pay attention to details to understand tensions. Communication is a two-way process and it's the same with the English language. Always show interest in other people's opinion when they speak. The three important keys to developing communication skill are learning, speaking, and practicing. Learning English is easy, and speaking the language will help you open up to the language in a better way. Practice is the key to pick up the language. Speak as much as you can. Advantage of English language communication. If you are well versed with the English language, then it can actively help you to learn about new things. English language communication increase your chance of earning better as various job skills require English communication. It gives you the power to do things your way. As it's one of the most influential language, it is great to the understand. You can bridge yourself with modern day knowledge with the use of English. You can innovate in a better way with active communication. From creation to implementation, you can do much with the power of English language communication. English language communication can help you make many friends, talk out the word, listen to learn the language for communication. The English language helps you to understand other language. English is a hybrid mix of language such as Roman, Vikings, French, and Latin. The English language is truly flexible, so it is effective to communication is the language. You have so many different ways to explain a single concept. And with English skill, the most important in communication. Number 1 is reading. The first basic English skill is reading. Everyone know to reading will increase our knowledge. With reading skill, we can also add knowledge in English. Therefore, this skill is very suitable for beginners to master to help the process of learning English. Reading skill can also help beginners to increase their English vocabulary. Not only that, with reading skill, one can also learn the form of structure of a sentence. There are several tips that can be done to practice reading skill, such as spending a lot of time reading, paying attention to reading speed, understanding the essence of a text, and reading your favorite book. Number 2, listening. The second basic English skill is listening. The listening skill is perhaps the most challenging skill for beginners. In listening skill, a person is required to be able to listen to what other people are saying, but not only that, someone who listens must also be able to interpret what he hears so that he understands what the other people is saying. Even though it is quite challenge, you can still practice this listening skill. Here are some tips that you can do to master listening skill, namely listening to English conversation frequently. For now, there are many choices of English conversation that you can find on YouTube, podcasts, and audiobooks. There are more fun ways to practice listening, namely by watching English movies or listening to English songs. Number 3, speaking. The third basic English skill is speaking. Speaking is almost the same as listening, which is a skill that is quite challenging for beginners to learn. Speaking skills are the most important skill used in communication in English besides listening. Learning speaking is actually easy. We just need to speak more in English. We can practice it by speaking English to ourselves or to our friends, but the first way to master this skill is to practice speaking English with someone who is fluent in English, because that person can help correct the words we say. Apart from that, from people who are fluent in English, we can also follow the example of how to pronounce the correct word in English. Number 4, the fourth basic English skill is writing. Writing, the skill is no less challenge than other skill. Writing skill nowadays are also quite important, besides being able to be used for communication. With writing skill, we can create writing such a novel, property, or other form of writing in English. To practice this skill, you can do it by reading more or reading English readings. Then try to rewrite what you read. You can also practice writing by writing every day things like a diary in English and to improve writing skill. Thank you.